Hey, so today we're gonna kind of keep it brief, Chris. We're just gonna go over some general Syndra bullshit and mid lane bullshit. I'm gonna try to keep it as brief and painless as possible, because you don't have giant glaring issues, and maybe after this your noob arrows will go away because you'll become unnoobed. Okay. So for starters, we're what I want to happen every game, and I kind of went through this with Jad and Kleshom already, is at the start of every game. Okay, it is really important. I know some people are like whatever about it, but you need to take into consideration matchup, and very importantly in the mid lane is you need to look at Keystone, because Summonary we're looking to auto more, and Comet and Electrocute are like kind of those bursty runes. Especially if we see Comet, we can reduce a Keystone's value by going like early tier twos, even though tier twos are dog shit. Uh, it just gives us an opportunity to find an advantage early just off of, you know, basic game knowledge. Like, the way you play lane is obviously going to be normal. You've played this matchup a million times. You've been playing mid lane for a really long time. You have good game knowledge. But we need to make sure, if we're ever playing Syndra, especially Syndra, our first like 3 to 4 Qs should always go to out sustain. Like it's always poke. Like we want to chunk HP and trade mana for mana, band for band, because we know Dark Sphere is 40 mana. We know it's cheap as balls. And whenever we look at Lissandra, we understand that her shit is on a longer cooldown, and it's significantly more expensive at 55 mana. So if we're trading Qs, we end up out sustaining. So it's very important to just check beginning of the game and lane, especially on Syndra and sometimes Ari, Keystone or runes, and then if you don't know it, fucking pull it up on the wiki for the love of God. Look at mana costs and like, am I gonna have the ability pre lost chapter to out sustain and create pressure in the mid lane? Cool. And what I like to mention all the time is Syndra E. Um, if fuck, I need to low key start this over. Hold on. Okay, so I have to do like this is my third take of this. I just keep fucking it up because I have brain rot. Um, but essentially, what I wanted to kind of harp on and really just pay attention to, because it's your only like glaring issue. Well, you have two glaring issues playing mid lane, is micro, and I want to say your timers are really bad. Your timers are kind of wonky. There is this Nice video, and I fucking hate Nice. I fucking despise Nice, but he spoke on it really well. Um, he was watching a Cassidon mid player just like lose a game for fun. Like he just got shit on. Like he played the lane really well. There's nothing he could do. He had zero opportunities. Um, but the mechanic he kind of described and pointed out to everybody was, especially in the mid lane, is kind of a turn cycle. And this turn cycle is essentially like, you know how waves bounce back and forth. In a relatively even pushing power pre lost chapter, lanes bounce back and forth. This game, we never take our turn. So like when we get our shove out and we have like a small timer, like 10 to 15 seconds, instead of looking like for either a base or a roam, what we need to look for every time is vision, or just showing on map with our jungler. You can watch this entire game on 8 second pace, and every time we get a turn, it is never expended on vision, except one time we expended on a roam. Like, yeah, obviously we should stomp Lissandra. We're really fed. We come to the objective. But there's very few times that we place wards or look to get jungle pressure or check for jungle. We're in lane so frequently. You had two big roams the entire game. And like we're missing resources multiple times because we're not taking our turn. I know there's a fight there, but there's a good handful of times where we miss a lot of creeps. So when we fast forward to like post lane phase, where we've lost out on 20 farm. There's 3 different plates we missed, and I guess that's unlucky timing that I fast forwarded to your death. But we're not paying attention to like just this line of minions, whether it ends up being in the base or like over here. We are never saying like, oh, I can take my turn in moving over to get vision, or I can take my turn over for a defensive ward in the red side, or oh, I can take my turn and go pick up this blue buff. Like, we always are just in lane. We moved for drag one time. Oh, I need to change the font. We moved for dragon one time, and we moved for dragon, we moved for grubs, and we moved for one roam. And there's a couple of more opportunities that presented itself, just small opportunities to get these little leads. And since you're not a toddler, since you're a real player and you know the how you're supposed to play the game, this is the most glaring issue, is we don't take the time to drop this ward. We don't take the time to get the blue. We don't take the time to maybe look chip damage on the turret when we can. Like, we are very linear. We are very safe. We're not looking at every opportunity we can. And when you get to that competitive play in the mid lane, that's something that we need to make sure we're paying attention to. How can I get more info? How can I get, even if it's a minor, like even if it's a fucking 20 gold lead, it's still a 20 gold. And that's going to accumulate. How can I build tiny little things that will give me the edge in lane or my opponent, other than item breaks and team fights? And yeah, that's pretty much all I want you to pay attention to next time you practice, is like, when can I take my turn? When can I get chip damage? When can I ward? When can I pick up the blue? When can I help my support get vision? When can I, just do shit around the map? Because there's a lot of times that we don't. And there's a couple of opportunities that we missed, like 3 or 4 that I can count, that we definitely just missed, or we were dead for, or we, fucked up our TP timer, or we missed an extra wave, or we weren't there for dragon on time. And the next thing is micro. And I'm not going to do a cut here. I'm just going to do this shit in one take because I don't give a fuck. The next thing is micro, and I need to find the dragon fight for it. But we have a fight here with everybody. And I just want to talk about your E usage. We TP to the wave, which is chill. I like this, whatever. We're going to play up. And I kind of harped on Kale for this too, because there's a couple of moments where Kale walks up against the wall instead of walking into his team. But for you, you're not playing your effective range to the fullest potential. Like, I don't know if it's a Syndra E thing, like you don't know Syndra E or you're playing your CD, but there's a good handful of times where, one, we completely miss. We're drunk. Okay? We're drunk and we're throwing out our biggest protection tool when nobody can follow up. But we're very far behind very frequently in this fight, and we've missed QE, Q, and WQ. Another Q. Like, there's a lot of like minor moments where we're missing things. We have a really good QE that sets our team up for success, but what I want to say is, like, pay attention to not only micro of yourself, but play your abilities off of J4W. Play your abilities off of Rel Q. Play it off of Misfortune E. Wait for those slows. Wait for those stuns. Look for better opportunities than forcefully creating them yourself. Okay? This is a big part of front to back, where, yes, sometimes your team might not create the best opportunities for you, but you can just chill. You can hold your big abilities. Like, you don't have to be dumping them out everywhere and blowing your load. You can be doing more damage by holding them and making sure they're more guaranteed. And, like, that's what we do later in the fight. We find those QEs after Rel is forward and we have an opportunity. We dick slam our entire damage combo onto the Udyr because guess what? He's CC'd, or he's slowed, or he's stunned. We can wait on our champion micro for as long as we want, in front to back. We need to pay attention to that. There's so many times in the mid lane too, like when we're grouped, that we're just tossing out our abilities for fun, which you don't need to. You don't have to. You can hold your resources. Like, yes, you're the star of the show, but the supporting cast is super important, and we can play off of them constantly. And there's just little things like that I kept noticing about that, where, like, we have our team around us and we're still forcefully looking QE, or we're just like essentially looking for things that don't need to be looked for, or like we're too forward or we're too far back. Like just small things, small things. There's no glaring mistakes. You played excellent this game. You were definitely present. I don't have to harp on you about other things. The only thing I can harp on you about is the turn thing. Make sure you're taking your turn when you can, and team fight macro. Not even macro, but just team fight. Micro. Like make sure you are paying attention, and look at the CDs that are important to you, and that help assist you in your, damage dealing. I guess is a bad way to word it, and it's too late because I'm doing it in one take and I don't want to fucking redo it. But just pay attention, okay? Play off of your slows. Play off your other hard CC. You do not have to be the engage tool this game. You don't have to be looking for QE every second you get. You literally have so many fucking tools that'll help you do your job better and make you do more damage and play your CDs better and make your life easier. All of your teammates are going to trust each other. You need to trust your team in being able to set these things up for you. Because in front to back, you are God. You are the deity of the team, and so is your ADC. Play like it. Play safe. Take your time. Do your damage when you can. Let yourself play off of your teammates. And I guess this game might be kind of a rough example because, you guys were shit stomping so hard. But I've seen it too in previous seasons where you end up being the engage tool and you don't need to be the engage tool. You simply need to pilot the champion. You simply need to play off of others. And obviously that'll change based on champion, yada, yada, yada. Yada, 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 yada. I love you. You're talented. You're sexy. You played really well. I'm going to do a recap now. Love you. Bye. Okay. Recap time. We love recapping. Oh my god, recapping is so fun. Okay. Recap, and we're going to make it brief. We're going to keep it short, and then we're going to give you some homework. Okay? 1. Turns in mid lane. Pay attention to it. When, why, how. Okay? When, why, how. Okay? Just ask yourself these questions generically, in between waves, based on map state. Take your turn. Go get a ward. Go fetch that blue. Go help your support place a ward. Just be there. Be a shield. Be a body. Make sure you're taking your turn. Super important. 2. Team fight macro. Or micro. Sorry, I need to stop calling it macro. Micro. Okay? You don't have to be the hero. You don't have to be the hero at all. This is not necessary. Okay? You have so much in front to back that supports you. The supporting cast are technically the heroes in this situation. You are there to play off of them. You're simply there to enable them further, just like they're there to enable you further. Make sure that you're just playing a supporting role. Okay? And lastly, in terms of homework, I would say, and I'm pretty sure you already do, watch every Nemesis video on the planet, bro. Watch every Nemesis video. See how he plays in solo queue, because the way he plays in solo queue is almost close to perfect to how you should play in 5s. Nemesis is super valuable. Learn something, okay, and bring it to next practice and talk about it. Just learn something about the mid lane that you can improve upon and work on it. Look at Nemesis. Watch a Chovy VOD. For the love of God, you and I both love Chovy. Watch a Chovy VOD. Chovy does so many things so perfectly all the time that's so consistent. It's insane. You should watch one of his Jace Orianna matchups. It's ape shit. Watch a Lil Dobby video on Chovy. Just make sure you're consuming content and players who are super talented and are in a position that you would like to be in. And that's just going to be your homework. So next time you practice, I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to you and what you do with your wave state and whether you take your turn or not. And then I'm going to be paying attention to teamfight micro. I'm not going to be asking you to hold your fucking abilities, obviously. I'm not going to be like, oh, don't QE if you see a free angle. No, you don't have to fucking be an idiot. I'm saying just keep in mind that you don't have to make the hero play and you can play off your team. I want to see you playing reactively to your team more and kind of meshing together. That's what we're shooting for. Yeah, and then homework, just review the GOATs. Pay attention to the GOATs. Watch some LeBron VODs. Watch some footage. See what they do differently from you and how you can implement your gameplay into being like the GOATs. I don't even care if you watch a fucking Zoo Kill VOD of the top lane or what's his name? Pizang. I don't care if you watch some fucking Pizang or Beifeng. You know, watch these Chinese and Korean players and see what they do in their lanes that, you know, make their shit champs not shit. Thank you. You're very talented. You're very sexy. Goodbye.